Was it not just a matter of days ago that I did a video talking about India, I think it was India, and how their gold is not in their country. A lot of gold that they own is not in their country, and it's over in England in the Federal Reserve or wherever. And a person filed some kind of lawsuit against the government, namely the Federal Reserve or the central bank. I call it the Federal Reserve because that's what we call ours, but the Central Bank of India, who authorized it, because our law, and he quotes the law and the date the law was created, says that we must keep 85% or more in our country. And clearly the amount of gold that's, or basically I think they're only allowed, like 15% is all they can allow out there. And they've got a lot more than that in either the UK, London, or the US Federal Reserve System. We're holding their gold. So he files a lawsuit saying, there's 265 tons of gold out and about. I think that was the number, if my memory serves me correct. And there's no reason why he should lose. Therefore, okay, let's bring our gold back. And he also said in the lawsuit, I also want to know who authorized this breaking of the law to put gold out there, put our gold out in other countries' hands, especially if we end up getting in a war or fight against one of these countries. Just saying, wouldn't that be kind of a bad thing to have them having our gold? It was an epic lawsuit. I did the video the other day. And I mentioned, remember old Chavez? Chavez from Venezuela said, hey, we want our gold back too. Our gold's out and about abroad. Federal Reserve has some, and again, London has some. Those two entities you will find over and over and over again, London and the Federal Reserve. They've got our gold, we want it back. Right around the same time, Gaddafi, we finally go after him, we take his 80 tons of gold. Okay, wonder where that gold went. I wonder if it went towards Chavez as what was owed to him. And then we have MF Global take place in November, just prior to December delivery month of gold and silver for futures traders, in which a third of those contracts out there did not get their deliveries because of MF Global going bankrupt. And the latest information out of MF Global, which I also did a video about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, was that they claim we've accounted for all the money that allegedly was stolen or whatever. So if we've accounted for all the money, then everything's fine. Which would also mean, then why did you go bankrupt in the first place? And why did you not deliver gold and silver to the contract holders and you defaulted on that? Oh, I don't know, maybe because Chavez wanted his gold back and they didn't have enough. And because they take this gold and silver and they lend it, loan it, reloan it a million days or a million times to one, being a little sarcastic here, but they resell it, relend it, reborrow it to more and more people, that one thing, because they realize, well, Venezuela's never going to get its gold. It's been here for 12 years. They've had it here for 15 years, this other country. We can do what we want with it, when in fact they can't. But they do because the countries aren't asking for the gold back. Now all of a sudden some countries are asking for the gold back. So it started with Chavez. I even said it myself, along with other people, you will also see other countries doing the same thing Venezuela did. So here we have India. Now India's in the spotlight. Possible repatriation of their gold because of the person filing the lawsuit inside of India that's an Indian citizen saying, hey, something's wrong here. Our law states that you can't do this and you did do this, etc. I've already explained that. And today, of all places, Germany. What? No way. There's no way. With gold and silver prices going down right now, $1,500 and something for gold, $28 for silver. Who wants those relics? I mean, seriously. Who wants them? Oh, I don't know. Venezuela did. India does. And now Germany does. Germany's central bank has the world. So let me finish by saying something that Jim Sinclair also said. You will fail in your fight against the cabal regarding gold and silver. You will fail time and time again if you let your emotions basically do your talking. So, in other words, you're getting nervous right now when you're unloading gold and silver because you don't like what you see. Yet, central banks of all these other countries are buying with both hands and even getting their gold repatriated back into their hands. Why would they do that if gold is just a traditional brick that central banks have, as Bernanke said, because it's just a tradition. Why are their actions of the world in these countries and the country's central banks, why are their actions not jiving with everyone else's words? Interesting comment, isn't that? Germany's central bank has the world's second largest holdings of gold after the United States, about 3,400 tons. Now think about, this is no small amount of gold like Venezuela want. Not that 92 tons is small either, but in country speak, 92 tons is chicken scratch. So look what Chavez did, what upsetting he did in the global gold market by asking for his gold back. Not asking for above and beyond his gold, just what was his. And look what happened. Now India's getting ready to do it. And here we have also right behind India, Germany. And India, as I said, was 265 tons or thereabouts that they're trying to go back and get. At least 85% of the 265 tons, because that's what their law states. And of course the central bank will fight tooth and nail to keep that little 15% out there. You know, it's better than taking the whole thing back. So that's 265 tons. First was 95 or 92 tons. Now we have 265 tons. Next is 3,400 tons, potentially, right? Can you see where this is going? And can you see how it's being exacerbated majorly each time something comes up? And look what just the little tiny Chavez did with his 92 tons did to the gold market, caused MF Global, that whole thing. I'm convinced. Germany's central bank has the world's second largest holdings of gold after the United States, about 3,400 tons of gold valued near 140 billion euros, according to the Bundesbank. The German parliament, the Bundesbank, has been examining the accounting of German gold reserves at the Bundesbank. The parliament's budget committee, one of the most powerful committees in the German parliament, had requested a critical report by the Federal Audit Office. Quote, "The decision has been unanimous," end quote. The paper quoted the Christian Social Union budget expert Herbert Frankenhauser. The newspaper report alleged that, quote, "account cheating regarding the German gold reserves." No, you're lying. You're not going to say the numbers are wrong. No, you can't make this stuff up. I'm not reading you a book right now. You have to be, Jay Snip. You've got to be reading a fictional book. It has to be. Look at the price of gold and silver. They're going down. This can't be real. Oh, it's real. And you're a damn idiot, a complete fool, a moron, if you think that gold and silver are not a great thing to have right now, even as the prices are going down, regardless of where you got in at. As Gerald Celente says, current events form future trends. Current events, Chavez wants his gold back. MF Global defaults on delivering silver and gold contracts for delivery, physical goods, physical silver and gold. First time ever. And then now we're finding out, they said, well, we found all the money. Which proves, in my opinion anyways, that they did this so that they didn't have to deliver the gold. They needed that gold badly. Okay? Now we have India coming up. Larger amount of gold, not 92 tons, 265 tons. Now we've got Germany with 3,400 tons total. That doesn't mean that 3,400 tons is in America, Federal Reserve, or in London. But you can imagine a large part of that probably is. Which would probably dwarf, obviously, the 92 tons from Chavez and the 265 tons from India, and both of those combined. Future trends are formed by current events. What do you suppose the future trends will be? And again, I don't care if it's 6 months, a year, or 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, or even 5 years from now. Where do you suppose the price of gold and silver will be ultimately? When all of this crap comes out, and then you hear another country after Germany, maybe France, or Spain, or just somebody else, and all, we've got accounting errors in our gold department too, and it looks like we've got a lot more gold out over in the Federal Reserve and in London than anywhere else. And isn't it funny that London is one of the main hubs, if not the largest hub, of where the gold and silver futures contracts go through. And on our side of the pond, the COMEX. So let me go ahead and back here. The newspaper report alleged the account cheating regarding the German gold reserves. According to Bild report, the Federal Auditing Office complained of inadequate diligence of the accounting of the gold reserves, which are stored in some foreign countries. Oh, not just the gold here, the gold in other countries. We've got problems with the number. Oh, you can start to see a picture forming here, can't you? Repatriation of the gold reserves is encouraged, end quote. Repatriation. Get used to that word. Chavez used it first. It was just in the article I read the other day from India. Repatriation. Third time, Germany. Repatriation. Can you see where this is going? Gold is just an old relic. You know, like an old antique silverware set your grandmammy has. You know, just an old relic. Right. Okay. Some of you can keep believing that as long as you want. The Bundesbank confirmed that it, like many central banks, keeps part of its reserves in vaults at foreign central banks, and said some of its gold is held at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the Banque de France, and the Bank of England. It declined to say how much gold in total is held overseas, or how much gold is stored with the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, and Banque de France. Now, let's think about that. If they have 3,400 tons, and they're declining to say how much is over there, you would think somewhere, some politician, some government accounting office, someone somewhere has the right to know that number and is probably going to come out and say it soon. And you could probably be rest assured the fact that they're hiding it and don't want to tell anybody what the actual magic number is. It's probably, as I just said a minute ago, larger than the 92 tons and the 265 or so tons combined from both Venezuela and India put together. We don't want to say how much it is. In other words, it could be all of it. It could be most of it. It could be half of it. It could be a monstrous portion of it. A third of it. I mean, a third of it would be over 1,000 tons, by the way. Yeah, I mean, 1,100 or, almost 1,200 tons would be a third. They declined to comment. The Bundesbank statement said it had complete confidence in the integrity of the central banks where the gold is held. But do you own those central banks? No. Do you have control of those central banks? No. But, and listen to the buzzwords, the key words. The Bundesbank statement said it had complete confidence in the integrity of the central banks where the gold is held. These are always words that are used when you know the opposite is true. In political speak, government speak, always. Confidence, integrity, right? Always. So, run for the hills in the opposite direction. Let me read it the proper way now. The Bundesbank statement said it does not have any confidence. There's absolutely no integrity of the central banks where the gold is held. That's what it really means. Quote, from these central banks, the German Bundesbank annually gets confirmation of the gold holdings in troy ounces as a basis for its accounting, the Bundesbank statement said. It goes kind of like this. For all you German people, this is how it goes. Someone calls the Federal Reserve and the Bank of London and the Banque de France. Hey, yellow, is Ben Bernanke in? Yeah, okay. This is Adolf. Adolf who? Adolf Hitler. Nah, just kidding, buddy. It's your pal over here at the other central bank in Germany. Listen, how much gold do we have on account with you? Oh, okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Make the next phone call. Hey, Jacques Cousteau of France. Yeah, listen. It's your buddy at this other central bank here in Germany. How much gold in ounces do we have in your vaults? Oh, okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Right? That's what they do. That's all it is. A piece of paper, an account ledger stating this is what you have. And speaking of account ledgers, let me go back to MF Global, specifically to Gerald Celente, who lost $100 and something thousand to the MF Global fiasco. And he said, I've got account statements this entire time. I can show them to you. I will fax them over to you and mail them to you that states, I, Gerald Celente, here's my account statement. I bought a contract at $1,400. The price right now is over $1,700 or whatever it was at the time, 17 something. That's my account statement. Here it is. I bought a contract in at $1,400. The price today is 17 something. Here's all my different account statements every month, the amount of money I had in my account at $1,400 futures contract price. What does he get? Go look at his videos. He's said this a million times. He gets a updated account statement, modified account statement. Gerald Celente, here's your modified account statement. $1,400 buy-in price, gone. New buy-in price, $1,700 something today's market price. If you want your futures contract back, you got to buy in at today's price. No, I already had accounting statements that said I was in at $1,400. And what do? They printed out a new piece of paper with words on it that redacted everything else it said prior, changed it all, and said it's now $1,700 that you bought in on these futures contracts, not $1,400. Have a nice day. Just a changing of the statement. Here you go. There's a brand new piece of mail. It says something different now. You don't suppose that the Federal Reserve and these other banks that are central banks that are holding Germany's gold and other countries' gold, matter of fact, while we're at it, because as the article says, a lot of central banks store their gold with other places. But I guarantee you're going to find it's always at least the top two central banks where all these other countries across the world that do store them overseas or out of the country are going to be at the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England or London, whatever. So this Banque de France, that's a new one for me because that's not typical, but those two other ones are always typical. So the bottom lines, and here it says from, they get annually confirmation in an account statement that says, yeah, we still have the same amount. It's yours. It hasn't been touched. It's sitting in the corner. When in reality, it's not there anymore. It absolutely has been touched 5 ways from Sunday and has been sold, resold, lent, spent, guaranteed, and relent, spent, and guaranteed again for multiple reasons. And I hate for the day to come when, again, this starts happening, which is that day now. Repatriation of our gold. I wonder if the elite ever thought we're going to come across a day here soon where people are going to want their gold back. They probably don't account for things like that because that's not in their profit model and their corruption and their world dominant view. Their view is we do what we want, we'll make it work, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there, if it doesn't work. And right now it's starting not to work. People are wanting their gold back. Countries are wanting their gold back. So it says central banks, particularly smaller ones with inadequate security or military resources to protect gold reserves, have traditionally kept some or all of their gold at foreign central banks, particularly the Federal Reserve, #1 choice, for security reasons. However, the risk of contagion and a global financial crash has led to anxieties about leaving gold reserves with foreign powers and concerns that in the event of a currency crisis or international monetary crisis, emergency measures could lead to gold reserves being nationalized or expropriated in order to support currencies such as the dollar. So what does that mean? That means people in countries and central banks, not so much the central banks, but the people and some of the politicians who control those central banks and tell the central banks, give us our money back or go ahead and put it abroad, are now saying, starting to look like a good idea to get a gold in our hands. Kind of like when I say, people ask, should I go get a piece of paper contract gold or should I get physical gold? And if I do get it, should I put it in a safety deposit box in a bank? No, 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 and hell no. You buy it, you put it in your house, in your safe, bolted to the ground, somewhere in your possession. Even if it's not in your house, it better be somewhere that you can go to that is not in a bank, that is not in someone else's control, that is not to where you have to get permission for someone else to go get it. If you got a secret location out in the woods and that's your spot, man, that's your spot. You're not going to run into any trouble of going to it. It's your backyard, it's your woods, go get it. If it's in your house, if it's in your garage, if it's in your basement, wherever the hell it is, it's in your possession. And that's what these people are doing. These countries are basically saying, We want to take it out of the bank safety deposit box over in the Federal Reserve and bring it back to our country. That's what they're saying, essentially. So if that's what countries are saying, current events form future trends, it might be a good idea for me too to make sure all my gold and silver is in my possession at all times, which it already is. I've been telling you that for 100 years now. So again, if people don't let your emotions get involved right now with the price of smashing of gold and silver, don't even sweat it. Again, if this thing drops to 20 or 15, the price to get silver out right now is about $15 an ounce. That's what it costs for mining companies to pull it out. So it automatically cannot go below 15. That doesn't mean it can't for a short period of time because they control the price, obviously. They can smash it down to $10. They can smash it down to $5 if they wanted to. It's not going to last. And it would only last long enough to where they realize, okay, if we keep this going longer, mining companies are going to be going bankrupt. And then we're going to have a real massive shortage on our hands. And it's going to be an epic failure on our part to control prices of silver and gold at that point. And it's game over for the elite. So they wouldn't do that for an extended time. They would do it for a short period of time to scare out the emotional weak hands. They do it all the time. And then it would have to go back to 15 and above because it has got to be minimum of what it costs to mine it out of the ground, guaranteed. So there's a perfect example of even if silver, which this isn't going to happen, but even if silver got smashed and never came back up again, never saw $50, never saw $40, never saw $30 ever again, but it stayed at $15. That's far better than you saying, oh, I own stock in Microsoft or Google or this place or the S&P or the Dow or this bank, JP Morgan, that just lost freaking 15-20% in 2 days. That can and will and always has gone to zero eventually. Stocks, right? Paper. There's no physical asset there. It's a piece of paper. And you may say, oh, good, I bought in at 20 and now it's down to 10. I'm going to buy in at more because I don't think it's going to go lower than that for this paper asset I'm looking at, this stock. And then I'll price average about $15. I bought some at 20, I bought some at 10. I'm in at 15. And then I'll hope it goes back up. Oops, it went down to 5. It went down to 0. It's gone. It's done. You lost everything. Now you lost your $20 buy-in. You lost your $10 buy-in. You lose. You don't even get a piece of nothing. You get a statement in the mail that says, sorry about your luck. Meanwhile, if you have silver and gold, hey, matter of fact, what is this? What is this doing in my drink holder, my cup holder? What is this? Oh, this is a little gift from a guy you might know named Pastor Dowell. He asked if I had one of these pandas. Beautiful thing. I said, no, I've never had one. He goes, you do now. He gave it to me. So I like having it sitting here. I just put it in my car because you never know when you run into someone, you want to explain to them, they're willing to listen, and you got to tell them, well, what do you mean a silver ounce of gold? Or silver ounce? What is that? Oh, let me show you one. This is a panda. You know, and I've got it on standby, basically. So this is a physical object that cannot go to zero. It cannot go to zero. You cannot lose ultimately with this. You could take a beating with this if you bought in at the absolute high and it never went back to the high again for 20 years and now it's down at half of what you paid for it. But at least it's half of what you paid for and not zero like these paper stocks are going to do. Having said that, there's not a chance in hell that this in gold is not going to skyrocket sometime in the near future because as I just read you, central banks across the world, thanks to their government forcing them, we want our gold back. And they're going to find out that the gold does not exist, and you're going to find what the webbot said on a massive scale starts taking place. Tungsten-filled gold bars that start to get cut into, and it'll make news over here. It already has, by the way, but not a lot. And then a big country like Germany or India or China, someone's going to come out, we just got our gold back from the Federal Reserve of the United States or London, whatever one they get it from. We cut into 20% of the bars, and a whopping such and such percent of the ones we cut into are filled with tungsten. Credibility of the United States, destroyed. Credibility of the UK, the euro, the whole thing, destroyed. Prices of real gold and silver, skyrocket. Because people who thought they had a 400-ounce, bullion bar that the central banks transfer back and forth, a 400-pound or ounce bar, yeah, not pound, 400-ounce bar, maybe there's only 50 ounces. Maybe there's only 10 ounces and it just coated the outside. That's it. Which means they don't have nearly what they thought they had, and they're going to be looking at the United States Federal Reserve and everyone else, you better give us our real gold. And we're going to find out, due to some accounting error, the Federal Reserve got bombed by Al-Qaeda Part 2, something. The COMEX gets destroyed by Al-Qaeda, and we don't know what happened, and the records are gone, and we tell them tough luck. That's how that could go down. So, keep in mind what I just said. Gold and silver, it is the asset that history shows it is, and it will be the asset of the century. Near future, by the way. You're not going to have to wait till you're, 20, 30, 40 years from now. We're talking a matter of years, that's it. And then you should see the price of these things just blow your mind. So anyways, I gotta go. Take care.